Steve and I first met when he was working on a project with an internal medicine practice, and he asked me to help him with the compensation piece of his performance management tool that he was implementing there. And I immediately became intrigued that here was an individual who was noted as an individual who's an expert in productivity and efficiency doing something in performance management. And quite honestly, most of the performance management systems that exist out there are not quantitative based. They don't affect the bottom line. Steve's does. And that's what's most important.
We were used to dealing with red ink, and we had a fairly good practice, a sizable practice. We were always borrowing money from the local bank to, not to meet payroll, but to meet profit sharing contributions and pension sharing contributions. So I decided I had to make a decision, and that decision was to just wither out and retire, or whether or not to grow my practice. Steve was able to predict for us after how many months of his model that we would be less indebted to the bank, and it's all come to fruition. We just funded our profit sharing program, and we funded it with our cash reserves. I felt so strongly about what Steve had done for us in our practice that I referred him to the local hospital.
We brought Steve in. He presented to not only myself but our CEO. We both believed that it was a product that would work for us, not only to concentrate on productivity, but also how we might be able to improve either reduction of expenses or improve the efficiencies in the office to increase volumes and therefore increase revenues.
Or Bassett Memorial out of New York. As a chief executive, part of it is you're looking at the overall organization, and in each of the various divisions and components, there's an accountability. And what Steve's product kind of brought to us was where we had a gap in having good measurable indicators and ones that we could use to readily course correct and adapt.
When you think about your traditional performance management systems, they're really driven by the personal values or corporate values. Steve's performance management system is driven by the bottom line of your organization. So what are the processes and the systems that can be improved in order to ultimately affect the profit and loss of your organization? There's the difference. That's what makes a profound difference in any organization that this is brought to.
Steve's approach is very different than a consulting approach. It's not done remotely. Steve works to inculcate himself right into the operations and ask the right questions, kind of analyzing what information is available, where it's resident in your organization, whether it's finance or IT, and then give you the information and the tools based on your organization.
When Steve came in, the focus was to get to the root of the data that finance needed, where exactly did it come from, what was it, and he enlisted the help and the support of the IT department to get that data. It was a job, and I can tell you Steve could help anyone who has performance objectives or even wants to see where the areas of improvement are. Because there's such a difference in the contractual adjustment among the departments.
This allows almost a scan, in my case, and also my chief financial officer, and something we can look at. You can't wait for a quarter, 6 months, or a year, to address it.
I wanted to see if you had... Steve was able to help us develop a method of distributing the information on a monthly basis in a timely fashion. The sooner you can get the information out, analyze it, discuss it, develop a plan of action, the better the results will be and really easier to accomplish.
One of the points that I think that's critically important to understand in this is that this is an automated system that Steve has created. It's driven by a software solution, so you can actually watch the improvement that happens on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis. The processes and the systems and the analytics that Steve applies truly do have universal applications. I've seen it done already in 6 or 7 completely different industries. And that's the advantage of bringing someone like Steve and his organization to your organization. It's really powerful. It's very, very powerful.
We've been using this program for about 4 years now. We've expanded. I can't tell you how indebted and grateful I am to Steve. He has transformed us from a business that was just barely getting along, relying upon regular loans from the bank, to a very effective profiting business that I'm able to distribute my profits throughout the corporation and reward good work as it should be rewarded.
Steve told us from the beginning that you can expect about a 10% bottom line improvement. And the return on investment has been astounding.
This is really game-changing. What he does is really game-changing. And anybody who really wants to look at their overall improved productivity, their overall improved efficiencies, and as a result, the bottom line of their organization should really consider Steve Blaney and his organization.